In this video, we'll look at a Cobol program that copies the contents of one file to another. First, go to the GitHub link displayed on the screen and download the program, the associated data file, and the flowchart diagram. The files to be downloaded and the link are also mentioned in the description below. Copy the 3 files to the folder on your computer. Now open the COPYPROG.cbl Cobol program in the Open Cobol IDE. If you are using the same directory as the Cobol programs, the data file FROMFILE.txt and the flowchart file COPYPROG.pdf should be visible in the pane on the left. Notice that unlike the Hello World program, there are additional divisions in the program. These are the environment division and the data division, and within these 2 divisions there are additional sections. We'll get to them in a minute. The procedure division we saw in the Hello World program has additional lines too. On the pane on the right of the Open Cobol IDE, notice how the various divisions of the program can be accessed by clicking them instead of scrolling up or down using the arrow keys or the page up and page down keys of the keyboard. Before we dive into how this Cobol program works, let us look at the data file, FROMFILE.txt. This is a flat file and is also known as a physical file. The file contains alphanumeric characters, which means it contains alphabets and numbers. The numbers are in text form, which means to use them for mathematical computations, they need to be converted to numeric form. We'll see how we can do this in upcoming programs. The flat file contains 27 lines, and to indicate that each line is made up of 25 characters, a ruler is added on top and at the bottom of the file. Other than the ruler lines, each line contains a code followed by a name of a musical artiste. When the Cobol program is run, the lines of FROMFILE.txt are copied to another flat file titled TOFILE.txt. Now, let's look at the Cobol code. Since our program needs to access the data from the FROMFILE.txt file, it needs to be included in the code. And since it is also going to create a new file with the contents of the first file, the second file, TOFILE.txt needs to be included as well. We do this in the program with a combination of the environment division and the data division. In the environment division, we have 2 sections. The first is the configuration section. Here, we define the source computer and object computer, basically where the Cobol program is to be run. Source refers to the source code and object to the compiled source code. This was part of Cobol 85 syntax, but even without this section, this program will work fine. The next section, input-output section, is mandatory though. Here, under File Control, another Cobol reserved word, we assign user-defined words to refer to the input and output files. We are going to call the input file iFile and the output file OFile and tell Cobol that these exist on the hard disk. We also indicate how these files are going to be read when they are opened. Each line in these files is going to be read from left to right and from the top to bottom sequentially, line by line. These functions are achieved by the commands select, assign, and organization. For example, to assign the user-defined word iFile to the input file, we use the code select iFile, assign disk, and organization is line sequential. We do that for the output file as well. Next, we actually connect the user-defined words to the actual files on disk and define the length of the lines in these files. This we do in the data division of the program. This division has 2 sections, a file section and a working storage section. In file section, we actually link the user-defined iFile and OFile words to the actual files on disk. So here, where it says value of file ID, make sure the path to your file reflects its physical location on your computer. The length of the line in these files is defined by the pick clause, where we assign a 25-character length to the variable inrec. Similarly, we link the output file and fix the length of its lines too by creating a variable outrec. In Cobol, these variables are also known as data names. Notice that these data names have a level number, 01. This is a user-defined number. Sublevels are numbered 0, 3, 0, 5, and so on. We'll get to these soon. In the working storage section, we define a variable called EOF that denotes end of file to control a loop in the procedure division. We initialize this variable to a value n. Just like how we defined 25x characters for inrec and outrec, we define one character denoted by a single x for the variable as it is going to contain either a n or a y. We now look at the procedure division where the action takes place. First, we open the two files, one in input mode to read from and the other in output mode to write into. We then perform a sub-procedure called file copy till the end of file of the input file is reached. Once this is reached, the flag in EOF is changed to Y and the file copy process stops. The message file copied is displayed and the two files are closed. To better understand how this looping and program logic works, open the COPYPROG.pdf file and take a look at the flowchart where the program flow is represented in a more visual manner. Basically, what the program does is read a line from the input file and write it into the output file till the end of file is reached in the input file. It is now time to run this program. Just as we did with the Hello World program, click the Run button, and the program is both compiled and then subsequently run. If you performed the tasks as explained, you must see the file copied message on the mock terminal and the tofile.txt file in the left pane of the IDE. Open the tofile.txt file and compare the contents of the file with that of the FROMFILE.txt file. Some final tips. Notice how an asterisk appears beside the file name each time a file is modified. This indicates that the file needs to be saved, and to save the file, click the floppy button or press Ctrl+C. Do watch out for comments inside the code that better explains the code and data files used. As mentioned in the comments inside the program, instead of the second file, the output could have also been directed to a printer. In our next video, we'll look into how to extract information from these lines of data from a file.